Testing, testing. One, two, three. I feel like I'm so rusty at this. Oh my God. But, anyways, hello. How has everyone been in the past year and 3 months? I know I disappeared for the longest time, and I don't know. I feel like I had a lot going on, but I think this is the perfect time to keep on going. And honestly, guys, I was literally about to give up on this. And I don't know. It's literally smoky out here. Like, why? Basically, all of the fires in Canada made so much smoke that it traveled all the way over here. And I'm shooketh because I literally looked outside. First of all, I work in the city. And I made the brave commute, which I'm going to have to talk about so much. I have about a 2-hour commute one way. And in the morning, it was totally fine. It wasn't even orange. It was a little foggy. I was like, whatever. No big deal. Then it starts to be 12 p.m. And I swear on my life, it looked like something right out of a movie. And it was honestly quite terrifying. I could not focus at work. And I don't know. I just could not. I was like, I gotta go. I told my manager, I was like, hey, yo, I need to go home. I can't focus here. And it was just rough. But anywho, welcome back to Feelin Philline. I feel like I've, gone through so much growth the past year that I almost don't even know where to start. So much has happened and I don't even remember where I even left off, but I don't know, man. This world is a little cuckoo. A lot of random shit going on. I feel like these fires are, although it's something super common in California, my company, the other side, is in California for the most part. And that's a good proportion of the people there. They have seen us freaking out about all this. And they're like, psh, this happens every other day. I'm like, this is not a normal thing that should be happening in the first place. Hello, it's kind of scary to think about because we're so accustomed to just letting things happen. Oh, the forests are burning again. No big deal. When really our earth is literally going through climate change and all that stuff. And I don't know. I feel like it sometimes gives me an existential, oh my God, I can't even speak. Basically, I feel like the world's ending. And it's a little scary because obviously I grew up on all things religion. So Revelations for all my religious friends, there was a lot of telling about the end of the world and how it would end. It would start with earthquakes, fires burning, all of them sound like natural disasters, but it's almost kind of scary. Especially if you look outside and the world is orange, it looks like the world was on fire. And don't even get me started. At nighttime, I feel like zombies were going to come out of the bushes. No, thank you. I can't believe I even made the commute yesterday, but luckily today it's actually clearing up a little bit. The air quality is still iffy. We're still in the purple zone. But it definitely looks a lot better than it did yesterday. So pray for us. And also something that triggers me so much is why are we not talking about what's actually happening in Canada? All over Twitter. Oh my God, New York, the skies are orange. Oh my God, New Jersey, the sky is orange. Here's what New Jersey looks like. Here's what, the skyline looks like with the smoke. And I'm like, why is nobody talking about the fact that Canada is burning? There are no highlights on Twitter, no news headlines, nothing that is covering how Canada is doing. Hello, this is the more important question. I don't know, the power of news and the power to bring your attention to things just still amazes me. And where I work now is at Disney. I got the job in November. And where I work, it's just all media things. And, I just find it so crazy. I'm still learning every day the power of media and how it can really influence just people's opinions of things. Like, even The Little Mermaid that just came out, all the things that were going on Twitter, and just so much talk about like, oh, why is Ariel not white? Like, excuse me, as if we don't live in current times right now. Like, God forbid we change the skin color of one of the characters and all hell breaks loose. Like, relax, people. It's literally just a movie. Like, calm down. And then there's also these Twitter conversations that just literally crack me up, because kind of in a response to those people that are like, why is Ariel not white? They are also throwing things like, what would happen if this character was a different race, a different gender? And it was just like so funny. But I don't know, the power really of media just amazes me so much. But yeah, I did get that new job. And again, there's so much I still have to cover, but I feel like I should start from March of last year, or whenever the fuck I stopped this podcast. I think a big thing for me, and the reason why I stopped for a little while, is just like, I felt like it was becoming kind of I wouldn't say chore, but it was getting hard for me to like want to record things. And I just feel like, I don't know, when things like that happen, you kind of just need to take the break. And I was kind of in the middle of just like big life changes. I don't know. Like, I think around that time was actually, and I'm checking my phone right now because I'm like trying to refresh my memory on what the heck I did. But I know around that time I hurt my back. I was doing deadlifts, 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. And I was getting so into it that like one day I was just so hyper, like not even on pre-workout, just naturally high on life. And I remember doing this really intense workout. It had deadlifts and it had good mornings. For anybody listening who doesn't know what good mornings are, do not do it. It's so bad for your back. Just don't even. Like, you could look it up and see what I mean. You have to hinge your back, similar to deadlifts, but I don't know. I just feel like where you're holding the weight on your shoulders is just not ideal. So yeah, I had a lot of workouts, and I think I want to say like 8 to 10 workouts that day. And normally I do 6, but I was like, really, I told you, I'm high on life right now. So hyper. Like, I think it was after work too. I was like, I'm coming down from this day, like all that. But yeah, it's not the workout that was the issue. It was my form. And I will not stress this enough. Start light, get your form right, and then work your way up. And even if you think you have it right, record yourself, because 9 times out of 10, you're not in the right form. Definitely check, like double check, triple check, because for the sake of our bodies, you want to make sure you're using the right form. And I'm not the first person that I've talked to even recently. Like, I feel like bulging discs are becoming a huge thing, and ACL tears. Like, I don't think the ACL tear has to do with like working out or, doing extensive sports, but definitely the bulging disc situation, that can come from just like poor form. So I was doing deadlifts, and this was the first time, like, that humongous bar that every girl is afraid to like use because 1, it's scary, and 2, it's 45 pounds on its own. Anyways, I took that bar. I added, I think it wasn't even that much, to be honest. Like, it was like 25 pound, those circle thingies that you put on the bar. 25 pounds on each side. So it was like 95. All right. I did 10 reps of that and it was fine. Second set, I added, I want to say another one of the 25. So this was getting kind of heavy, like 50 on each side. So 100 plus 45, 145. And I did it, and I was just so hyped that like I added even more weight the third time around, and it was fine. Then when I got to the good mornings, that's when like my back started bothering me. And if I remember correctly, like literally after this workout, my back was already hurting. I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, obviously, you think that you're going to be just sore. So I thought it was soreness, but 2 days became 4, became 5, and I was getting like really concerned. And I feel like at that point, like, I don't know, I was worried because I couldn't even sit down. I couldn't even like focus. And I don't know, I feel like it was just a bunch of shit going on. So I went to the chiropractor. They did an x-ray and they told me that I had a bulging disc. I was like, okay, like, what can I do at this point? And I guess the sad thing about bulging discs is that they don't really have medication. Like, there's no real way to like push the disc back in. So basically in your spine, just imagine the spine. It's when the disc kind of pushes out. Like think of books stacked on top of each other. Obviously, if they're stacked correctly, none of them stick out. When one book sticks out, it pushes against the nerve. So I know, the literal nerve, right? But no, it pushes on your nerve and you get sciatica and you feel pain from like your thighs to your ankle, honestly. I guess it depends on where it is. Like mine was in the lumbar area, which is your lower back, kind of near your tailbone. And it was just getting so hard to even sit down, to even like honestly stand up. Laying down was the worst. Oh my God, it was a freaking nightmare. Like it was so painful and I could not explain like how uncomfortable it felt. Like even sleeping, I could not sleep. So I thought I could just tough it out because my culture, like we can handle anything. But I started to really lose sleep and toss and turn, and it started becoming a big thing. So I was like, let me go to the chiropractor. So I did that. And for a long while, it helped just a little. And like, I did go to the chiropractor for the longest time, and it eventually didn't help. Like we did all that we could, and then I moved to PT. And the thing about PT is it's really helpful to, I guess, introduce the workouts. But if you're just like going continuously, you kind of dwindle away in terms of improvement because you're kind of doing the same exercises. Like, okay, after you've figured out the exercise, like it's fine. There's literally nothing else you can do. So I stopped going to that too. And the thing is like, I don't know, I feel like I was 80% healed and it was still during, I think like September or October of last year, because that's like around the time where I switched jobs. But it was really difficult. Like I still couldn't sleep. And I bought a few things. Like I bought a heating pad, which by the way, fun fact, you're not really supposed to use a heating pad on muscles. At least that's what my PT said. My PT said that it's better to use ice on, I guess, just like things relating to a bulging disc. Even though it feels uncomfortable, that's like the better way to kind of soothe it. So I did get an ice pack. I did get a heating pad. I tried to alternate between the two. I even got like a sleeping pillow. We got a new mattress, which actually that helped exponentially. But it was definitely tough for a little while, and I literally could not focus on anything else. So now fast forward to July, I'm like going to vacation with Marcos, my now fiance. Lots of things to say. We're engaged now, but I'm moving way too far ahead of myself. But my fiance and I went to Cancun, and we went on I forget those bikes. What's that name? The bikes. Oh my God. I cannot remember. What are they called? Bruh. ATV. I had to look it up. But we went on those, and slightly terrifying. Just a teeny bit, because I wasn't expecting the road to be so freaking bumpy. Like, I mean, I still went anyways, which was probably not a good idea given my back, but I was not about to not do that on vacation. But anyways, yeah, that was so fun. My back is definitely a lot better now, but it still occasionally hurts. And I listen to it, like the thing that we can do, especially when you're used to having a bulging disc, is just like listen to your body. If I'm working out and let's say it's a leg day and I do a lot of like squats or deadlifts and I start to feel this soreness, I know to stop. And that usually helps a lot. And also doing the stretches that my chiropractor slash PT taught me, it's been really helpful. So I'm alive. I'm living, like still working out. And also I've taken advantage of cable workouts. Like those are really awesome. And I feel like it's very underappreciated. So cable kickbacks, cable side leg lifts, those are really cool. And honestly, they've been giving me the gains that I need, at least that I couldn't do when I was doing, like lightweight work from my bulging disc. So all good now. I'm at least working out semi-normally. But that was definitely tough. And yeah, I still don't know how. It just like kind of went away on its own. So sometimes you do need to get surgery, and I'm blessed that I didn't have to do that, but it was definitely tough. So yeah, I'm back here, back to being little old me working out. I definitely lost track in the way, like eating healthy, working out correctly. I was definitely going through a lot of emotional things. I was pretty sad about like just being injured, and it took a toll on me for sure. But I feel like I've been so good at letting myself feel things that yes, I was sad. I'm going to let myself be sad. And once that sadness passes, I'll do something about it. So I let myself be sad. I let myself not work out if I didn't want to. I let myself eat the pad thai that I wanted. Yes, I still heavily crave pad thai on a daily basis. Let myself eat whatever I wanted for comfort and just let myself heal. It was really rough for a while because I was like itching to do stuff. Like literally, COVID was the perfect example. I'm just not the type to sit still. So that was rough for me, but I was trying to embrace the process. So it helped. And honestly, it was much needed because I healed a lot faster than my PT anticipated. So I think at least listening to my body in that case was perfect, top notch. Also, I got LASIK surgery around the same time. Oh my God. I have to talk about this whole interview process with Disney because it was intense. And not only was I interviewing, but I also just got LASIK. And it was like, honestly, just a nightmare. So I finally bit the bullet and I decided to get LASIK surgery. And in New Jersey, it's about, I want to say like $4,000, and I definitely saved. It took me some time to save, but my company was lucky before Disney to have a discount where if you used the company that they provided for LASIK, you can get $1,000 off. I was like, bet. First of all, I'm way past legally blind. Like if you, I'm not even like legally blind at this point. I'm like, I can't see. I'm literally blind. And I've had glasses since I was in 3rd grade. So this was honestly like a big move for me. And I'm glad I did. First of all, my coworker got it. He failed to tell me how scary the actual process is. So for anyone listening, thinking about getting LASIK, I 100% recommend it, but the process itself is like flat out terrifying. I won't lie. If you don't like things probing your eye, if you don't like being probed at all, pause. If you don't like anything being probed on your eye, it's terrifying. The funny thing is they missed my eye the first time with the numbing drops. Like, they did hit my eye with the numbing drops, but I guess like it didn't work the way that it was supposed to. So, mind you, I'm like already freaking out. My hands are sweating. When I'm nervous, my hands sweat and I like start shaking. So I'm laying down and they're putting these drops in my eyes. Like, one of them on my left eye, it slides out of my eye. Like, bitch, I was like, there's no way that these numbing drops did not get in my eye. Like, I'm literally freaking out. And they have to use this tool to kind of probe your eye open. And like, that's where the laser will go in. Okay. I'm about to get really graphic, but like, it's very necessary to explain. I'm the type of person, like, I need to know every detail. I need to know all the information, how every step of the process works. If it hurts, if, something's going to poke my eye, if they're going to open something. So my procedure is they basically lift a flap of your eyeball and they laser it. Okay. And then they close that flap. So this part of the process is where they're literally probing my eye open. Granted, the eye drops should be working. They should be working right now. Just remember that. So they probe my eye open and literally like they try to cut it and like my eye closes a little. Obviously it can't close because like there's a thing keeping it open. But literally it didn't hurt so bad because like it was still partially numb, but I felt it. Like I reacted obviously. And all of a sudden like all the doctors are like, oh, can she feel it? Like, can you feel it? Like asking me. I'm like, bitch, like my eye twitched. Of course I can fucking feel it. Like hello. So I'm like, yes, like, ooh, like shaking. Anyways, they're like, don't worry, just relax, like keep your eye open. I'm like, I have no choice, right? This freaking thing is in my eye, keeping it open. So anyways, they are able to open it. And like, it was a really quick process. Don't get me wrong. I'm making it sound longer than it seems, but they opened the flap and I was fine. So they did one eye first. And I remember specifically like the laser, they're like literally look in the light. You know how you're not supposed to look at the sun? It's very counterintuitive. Like I'm not trying to look at a light, but that was the instructions. So they did that. And the first thing that I remember is like looking at the light and then your vision goes black for like 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds. This is probably not helping any of my listeners like get LASIK surgery, but I promise you it's like so worth it. But it went black for a second. And then you only see out of one eye. And of course they do the next eye and it's also black. So you do experience like a quick second or two about like plain blackness, darkness, whatever you want to call it. And a little scary, but literally right after, immediately after the surgery, you can see. Like it's a little blurry at first. And at first it looks like if you imagine being underwater, like in a pool, opening your eyes underwater, that's what it looks like. But it's literally so clear. Like you can actually see. And right as you finish the procedure is when you can immediately get 20/20 vision. It's just like blurry and they have to heal. So right after, you have to put on sunglasses. You literally cannot open your eyes. Like definitely if you're planning to do this, I recommend a day where like you can stay home, because first of all, you shouldn't even be looking outside. You have to like stay in a dark room for at least half of the day and like sleep it off. But they gave me sunglasses, eye vitamins, eye drops, like everything. So not that bad, like bad, but not that bad. So tying into just like what was going on with my life, like this was right around the time where I was trying to look for another job. Not even trying. Okay, let me reverse. Like I wasn't trying to look for another job. I was fairly comfortable in my current position. Okay, because I really loved that job. Like just the hours of going in, the work-life balance. I 100% will recommend anybody to my last job. But it just, I don't know. I feel like at that moment in my life, I was outgrowing the job. Like it wasn't challenging me enough that as a young professional, I felt like it wasn't helping me move forward in my career and just even mental development, it was kind of reaching a max, if that makes sense. So my friend Danny, shout out Danny, I love you. I love you. She was awesome in just being my support system and just kind of pushing me. And a lot of people were also like, I mean, why the fuck would you not apply to Disney? I'm like, true, but there's obviously so much more that comes to mind when you're trying to, I don't know, like change jobs. Like, you don't know. I mean, like, besides the name of the company, you don't know if it's going to be a good decision. You don't know if you're going to start, if it's a horrible team, if it's going to be everything you wanted and more, or if it's just going to be a bunch of regrets. Like, I think that's what scared me the most. And I've mentioned before in pretty much all my previous podcast episodes that routine changes do not sit right with me. They don't. I am more terrified about the thought of a routine changing than the actual routine. And every time a change happens, of course, you're like, oh, this ain't that bad. Like, but no, man, like I was going from, I don't know, like a 30-minute commute to like 2 hours. And that wasn't even like my first thought in the process. But like, first of all, I got my degree in biomedical engineering. I got my master's in data analytics. And up until that point in my life, all I was working in was biomedical things, science, math. Like, I didn't know jack shit about media. But the thing is, the important thing that stuck with me was the fact that it would be so challenging. And I love being challenged. Like, in my career especially, I love being challenged. And as young professionals and people in our 20s, honestly, we have that flexibility to be challenged. Like, our brain has so much more potential than, honestly, like what a lot of jobs can offer us. And I'm not telling you to be too picky because, you know, a good opportunity might pass you, which again is another thought for me when I was thinking about changing jobs. Like, if I didn't take that chance and at least applied and see where it would take me, I would regret it forever. And this resonates so much with me just talking about it right now, because recently one of my friends also was looking for a job and she was terrified to kind of change her routine. It's kind of similar because it was in the city too. I was like, listen, I just went through this, girl. Like, just do it. And easier said than done. But because I went through it myself, like, I was able to say with confidence, you know, at least you tried and gave it a shot. If you didn't get in, like, totally understandable. But it's such a better feeling, like, knowing you tried and failed than not tried at all. So I don't know if there's literally a saying, I can't remember. It's like, it's better to love than not love at all, or it's better to love than not been loved at all, whatever. Kind of similar. Like, it's better to take the chance than not. So I feel like although I was terrified, and like, I'm telling you, I was so back and forth about the whole thing, and it was just rough. So again, tying back to my LASIK surgery, it was around the same time. So when I went through all the interviews and kind of like, again, Danny was there, so helpful. Like, I was telling her about just like helping me get through the process and just honestly reminding me that I can do this. It definitely sparked something in me to just like keep going and keep trying. And the next thing I knew, like, I was at a point where I was like, damn, I really could. I think I could get this. Like, and it's just so funny. I feel like we are our worst enemy. We never really embrace or at least see the fact that we have so much potential. So I think that part of my life was also super scary because I was like, if I don't get this, I'm not good enough. You know, it's always like imposter syndrome. Like, I'm never good enough for this type of job. I would never be able to get it. Like, I'm not that smart. You know, you start to bring yourself down and you start to really like beat yourself up for things. So it was definitely a learning lesson for me, like definitely challenging there. So I did it. I took the risk and I made it. I got the job. But the funniest part about it was I remember when HR was calling me to tell me that I got the job. It was literally 3 hours after my LASIK surgery. Like, I was like, Marcos, can you read my phone? Like, I don't know what she's saying. Can you read it to me, please? Like, and he was reading me the messages and like, they wanted to call me and I was like, oh my God, I can't see. Like, I literally can't see. Like, it's so crazy. So here I am in my room, like 11 a.m. and they called me and I remember like my eyes were still shut and they were like, hi, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, good, blah, 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 blah. Like, nothing crazy. And that was it. Like, that was the call that was like, oh, by the way, like, you have one last interview. And yes, that wasn't the call where I got the job, but still, it was right after a really scary interview. So I'm like, she's going to tell me right now that I didn't get it. And like, it would be a nightmare for me. But I, again, was making it to the next round. And like, I was like, what the heck? Like, I can't believe this is happening. And I feel like during the whole process, I was just numb. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how I made it this far. I was like, okay, I'll give it my best shot. Next interview would happen. I'd be like, okay, I don't know how that happened. I don't think I'm good enough. And we'll just see. So every step of the way, I was like doubting myself. But yeah, so basically my eyes were healing. And I remember specifically just this one day, like, I don't know, it was literally during a work day and I was contacted again. And that was when they let me know I got the job. And like, I'm telling you, man, for like 2 or 3 weeks after, honestly, it didn't even hit me that I got the job until like a month after I started. So it was all numb for me, but lots of good things. And I definitely want to like have more episodes in the future where I just talk about like, how do you tell your boss you're moving on, especially when you love your job? Like, that was definitely the hardest part for me. But yeah, that was around Thanksgiving of last year. So fast forward to now, I've been grinding, like, love the job. You know, one thing I can say out of nowhere, out of just this whole experience leading up to this point, is just to take the risk. And again, with my friend also got the job too. And I'm so happy for her, like, amazing. But she wouldn't have even had this opportunity if she didn't just go and take it. So I feel like, again, kind of like tying back to how we are as young professionals and being like at this point in our life, we have the flexibility to try new things. We have the flexibility to take risks. And hey, sometimes it doesn't go the way you want to. Like, sometimes you don't like it and you have to go back. At least you can. Like, there's not really responsibilities. I mean, besides like paying for your apartment, and granted, you might have kids by now, but I don't know. I still, even like, because the kids are still kind of early in their life right now, that you still have the flexibility to do so. So I don't know. I think that could definitely be beneficial and just something to consider to all my listeners trying to find jobs and trying to, you know, get out of the shithole of a job sometimes we have. Like, my first job was absolutely mortifying. Like, I know I've talked about this before, but my first job was just terrible. I hate to even think that that existed, but just knowing how far I've come, I think, is something super motivating and something so positive. So, yeah, take the risk. Take the risk, friends. Like, just do it, you know? You never know. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that also ties into just like how we are as young people, just be like living by the day. But yeah, that's pretty much been my whole life. And the commute was really horrible at first and definitely stressful, but I was trying to see the positive in everything because, of course, I'm Little Miss Sunshine over here. Like, you cannot tell me a bad thing. But I was trying so hard. I was like, you know what? This commute is 2 hours. At least I'm on the train. I could do a bunch of other shit, which is true, but I really just end up being on my phone the whole time. Definitely a habit I'm trying to break, but it's true. You could read a book. I can't. I get nauseous, so no. Um, you could also, I don't know, journal. You could watch a show. Like, I've found time on the train as a way for me to have me time. And I feel like I never really looked at it like that till probably the new year. And after that, I've just been like looking at it as such a positive. It's been honestly like I have a good time being outdoors, and work is no exception. Commuting to work was no exception. Like, that's something that I consider me time and outdoor time. And especially now, it's hot as hell outside. It's so nice. I get some sun time too. Like, I love being outside. So that already was something that I was kind of holding on to. And even though I started in November, right? It was during the holidays. It was cold, bruh. It was freezing. Like, yes, I hated the cold, but even going to the city, like during the holidays, like Christmas, it was so beautiful. And granted, the city's still a little scary sometimes, but it has its beauty. And honestly, I'm like really starting to like it. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. I've learned so much about media, and I think honestly, just for me and my career development, this was crucial. Like, very thankful to be here, very thankful to be at this point in my life. And I'm just so happy I took the chance and just went with my gut. So, yeah. And that's not all, folks. But wait, there's more. Like, I want to say that fall of last year into winter of this year was like probably the most pivotal 3 or 4 months of my entire life, because so much was going on. Like, not only did I get a new job, Marcos got a new job, and like we were kind of just navigating new routines, just new life that was coming. And although it was terrifying, we were super excited. It's all good things, but it doesn't make it, any different from affecting my anxiety. Like, I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, so many changes. But yeah, on top of everything else, we had a trip to California planned, which was actually like perfect timing. God be working in mysterious ways, but we got these new jobs, and like, I'm not even joking. 3 weeks later, we went to California, and we were in California just doing our thing. So we were flying over there, and like, I don't know, Marcos had like scheduled to pick up a rental car. And like, I was like, okay, whatever. So I got my nails done, and we were on the flight. Like, I was fine. I was eating. I was happy. I was taking a nap. Like, a good flight, not even a scary flight, nothing. I look over at Marcos, and like, literally he's freaking out. I'm like, what the heck? I was like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, well, I thought the rental car was supposed to be at this time, but I think I got it mixed up with California time. And he told me the time, and I was like, no, 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 this is fine. Like, we genuinely get confused about the time change, and it's the most hilarious thing ever, because I swear in my life, like, as soon as we landed, all hell broke loose because we were like confused. And then we realized that we were supposed to pick up the car like an hour after we landed. So we were kind of rushing, and like, I was genuinely confused. I was like, yo, it's really not that serious. Like, what the heck? So anyways, we get in the rental car, and we're kind of like breathing, because first of all, Marcos rented a Tesla. I'm like, this guy does not even know how to drive a Tesla. So I was freaking out. And of course, like, hello, the most anxious person, I do not drive past the speed limit. Like, I know whoever sits with me in the car wants to rip their hair out, because I refuse to drive past the speed limit, because growing up, I've gotten so many tickets. Like, I can't even explain. I was a super reckless driver in college, and all my college friends will know that it's not in the favor for me. It's not in my favor, the odds or whatever. So I'm like confused. First of all, like, why did you get a Tesla? I'm also starving at this point. I haven't eaten. And he's starting the Tesla. We're like practicing driving. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this isn't that bad. Then we get on the highway. And now I'm like, like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, ugh. So, anyways, I'm not even focused on that. So, first of all, I'm like, I'm hungry. Let's go eat somewhere. He's like, okay. I think we got into the hotel first. And then we were like, okay, we'll go get steak. So he puts in an address on the Tesla. I'm not even paying attention at this point, okay? Like, literally, the only thing on my mind is, I can't wait to eat this freaking steak. I'm so excited. I'm going to get a filet mignon with, like, mashed potatoes. And if they have calamari, I'm going to fuck up the calamari. Like, I was starving. When I'm hungry, ooh, I don't even want to explain. I'm like a monster when I'm hungry. So anyways, he puts his address on the Tesla. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like looking at my phone, looking at the menu. I'm so excited. And like, I have no clue what's going on because we pull up to this waterfront and it's beautiful, by the way. It's in California and I don't remember the exact town. I have to ask him next time. But we got there and it was just open beach. I was like, okay, maybe the steakhouse is by the water because there are restaurants by the water, right? Like, no big deal. So we get out of the car and we're walking down this waterfront. I was like, where's a steakhouse, bruh? And he's like, don't worry. It's like right there by the waterfront. Like it's got a nice view of the water. I was like, okay, cool. And I'm walking over there and then he goes, oh, look over there. I'm like, it better be a fucking steak. I don't care about anything else right now. So I look and then I turn back towards him and I'm just like, and I look down and he's literally proposing. And like, he was on one knee and he gave this whole cute I love you speech and like, let's be together forever. And it was probably the most taken back I've ever been my whole life because I just was not expecting it. And like, he kept thinking that I did, but like literally did. I'm so oblivious to things. Okay. That's why like, it's so easy to surprise me. Because I'm oblivious. So yeah. And that's when I got engaged. December 5th of 2022. So yeah, it was a really happy, precious moment. And honestly, like, it's just so crazy that when you picture getting proposed to, you imagine like, oh, your hair is pretty, like your dress is nice, which I mean, it was because I wore braids on the flight and then I undid them and like my hair was wavy and I just like looked nice, even though I had a meltdown because I was supposed to wear one dress and I hated it and I started crying because I hated my dress. So I wore this other dress. But anyways, I still looked pretty cute and Marcus was so sweet. He hired a photographer in California to actually, record the moment and it was just perfect. So definitely one of the most beautiful memories that I have. So yeah. And then, I told all my friends, like, I feel like he only told like 2 people. So everybody was naturally surprised. And I was like, what the heck? He even told my family. And like, he asked my parents beforehand, which was, I think, so cute. Like, I've always wanted him to ask my parents. I've never really like told him that expectation, but he did anyways. So I feel like it was just all right. So I was so happy. And yeah, that was like one of the best moments of my life. So I'm living life, getting a new job and like everything, like I said, everything didn't hit me till probably, honestly, January. That's when it hit me. But to make things worse or better, I should say, because it was a lot of blessings, of course. Like 3 weeks later, I literally just like went home and I went inside the house and like, no offense to my parents, but my parents' house be messy sometimes. Like, I walked in there and there was not a single drop of dirt. I like looked at my dad. I was like, wow, you did some cleaning. Like, were you that bored? And he just laughed and stuff. And I was like, anyways, yeah, I leave because my sister wanted to go to the mall. So I was like, okay, whatever. So we're at the mall and like we're BSing around and like we're at Primark, which shout out Primark because it's the fucking shit. And I love Primark. But we're there and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like 4 hours later, and we're at the bridal section in Primark. She's like, ooh, we should get this for your batch. I'm like, yeah, sure. I haven't even thought about that. It's only been like 3 weeks. You know, I'm not trying to like rush this thing. And she puts a bridal bow on my shirt. So I'm like, okay. She's like, can you just wear it? It looks so cute. Like, this can be a little celebration. I was like, sure. Like, again, oblivious me, not even knowing. Honestly, when I'm looking back at it, I just get embarrassed because I'm like, how did I not even like put 2 and 2 together? Anyways, we're walking around. I'm getting hungry. This is the trend, right? They like to starve me before they surprise me. And I'm like, oh, we should eat. And like, ironically, at some point in those 4 hours I was at the mall, Noelle and Gabby, my 2 really, really close sisters, they messaged me. They're like, oh, do you want to grab dinner at, I don't remember the time. It was like 7:30. I was like, sure, I'm at the mall with my sister. I'll go home and meet up with you guys. And I think they wanted to go to like MJ's, quote unquote. So anyways, I'm like, I gotta go, sissy. I want to go home. I'm hungry. She's like, wait, no, let's just go here. She kept dragging me through stores. I'm like, bruh, this girl is trying to starve me. And like, I was getting so irritated. So anyways, we're like swerving in and out of stores. And again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Marcos was with me too. And my brother. We know. My brother was not there, but Marcos was there. Anyways, we finally get in the car. I'm like, damn, we can finally leave and eat because, like I said, I'm a savage when I'm hungry. So we drive home and like everyone was so good at hiding it because like there were no cars, of course. So like I'm coming into the house and like I have the perfect video for this and I'm going to put it up on my Instagram. But as soon as I opened, so we have like the garage and then we have a door that connects to the garage. But then like when you get into the house from the garage, there's another room like where the washer dryer is. And then you have to go through those doors to get to like the kitchen and the main part of the house. Anyways, I go in the garage. I literally, someone said, you know, and someone took a video and like, you can hear me saying it. I'm like, ooh, something smells good. I literally opened the door into the main house and the first thing I see, first of all, are 2 things. First thing I see is the massive amount of pizza. Second thing I see is Marcos's mom. So I gasp really loudly and I'm like, oh my God. And then all the lights turn on and it's literally all of our friends and family like surprising us and just throwing us a surprise engagement party. And I was like, oh my God, like literally I'm easy to surprise, right? But like only if I don't suspect anything. I was so surprised. Marcos proposing and my engagement party were probably the only 2 things ever that have actually surprised me without feeling like I had a hunch about something. So honestly, just wonderful things. And I can't wait to get more into detail about wedding planning with you guys and just everything. But I just wanted to use this episode to just wrap up whatever the hell's been going on in my life the past like year, honestly. I can't believe it's been a year and so much has happened. So it's just been full of amazing things. Like I barely got into this topic, but like a lot of my friends are pregnant or already have given birth and our friend group is growing so much and it's just so nice to see all of this happen. I'm so excited for all the babies and just all the new things coming up for like myself, my family, and my friends, like so much. And what a better time than to capture it all on a podcast. So yeah. So if y'all in for the ride, I'm here. Can't really leave the ride, but you guys are more than welcome to hang out and hear what's going on over time. But lots of things I want to cover and I'm super excited to just have you guys on the journey here. So yeah, and I will catch y'all next week.